All right. Good evening, parents. My name is Dr. K. I am the managing school director at Kairos Academy. And this is our first parent academy for the month of February. This is the second time we are doing this series. And today's session will be entitled Parents as Leaders. The objective of our time together today will be to work together to make Kairos a place where students' individuality, cultural identity, and voice matter exponentially. We really want to give parents an opportunity to talk more about Summit, to learn about our philosophy, and how we really make education in an authentic way come alive for our scholars. And so today's recording will be available to everyone so that you can review it at your leisure. And also feel free to reach out to myself or the principals should you have any questions. When you think about Kairos, our main objective is to reimagine school. We educate the entire scholar. We want every child to have a future of their choosing and the ability to set big, audacious goals and to go after those goals with confidence and independence. And that's why we're super excited to have parents as our partners aligned to this common vision. At Kairos, and even as we think about our Summit model, it's more of a collaboration versus competition. Summit is designed to give the learning to the students. When you think about Summit, I really want to break down for parents how it's structured. So all of the units are broken down into projects. The project is a combination of checkpoints. So if you think about it, they start a project, there may be anywhere from 5 to 6 checkpoints, and the checkpoints are mastery checks on how they will tie into the final project. We really look at what's called COG skills, and these COG skills are measured on a rubric and they're aligned to standards. Additionally, outside of the project time that is more facilitated, guided with the teacher, they have power focus areas. So you probably have heard that acronym PFAs, and then they have a lot of different activities that they engage in. When it's set up this way, it allows the scholars to correct misconceptions. And this, we found out, is a greater way to gain knowledge. If you tell students how to do something, they don't really retain it. It doesn't become sticky. Instead, we allow the scholar to try it on their own. And if they do it wrong, they learn what to correct. And that is the sticky part of it. Kairos, we really put students first. So this is an opportunity for the student to be the star. And again, the teacher helps facilitate the learning process. We are in pursuit of true equity and opportunity. Equity for us essentially means meeting our scholars where they are as they are. It's not enough to do equity, you must be equity. And that's what we're really excited to share with you today is what does that really mean when we say that we do equity? We are trying to create the conditions to nurture the talents of every child, especially those who systemically and social economic inequalities have failed, right? Kairos was intentionally designed to serve and embrace every individual child in a richly diverse community. Let's go to the next slide. Each student matters. And so when we have our scholars, our overarching objective is we want the scholars to know I am welcome here. We know that they battle with questions like, do I belong here? Am I somebody here? Am I celebrated here? Do you see me here? Do you hear me here? Do you like me here? Do you know me? Do you value me? Do you care about me? Do you believe me? Do you expect highly of me? Do you appreciate, respect, and understand my truth, which is undeniable? And do I matter to you? So this is the way that we really try to set up the classroom, and we solidify it and ground it in each student mattering and asking ourselves these particular questions and how we can assist them. Goals shouldn't be pressurizing. We put a lot of emphasis on goals, but they're not pressurizing. They are a North Star and allow our scholar to be in control of how they meet their goals, but understanding that they're working towards it. So when you think about parents as leaders, parent leadership is successfully achieved when parents and practitioners build effective partnerships based upon mutual respect and shared responsibility, expertise, and leadership in the decision being made that affect their own families, others' family, and the community at large. Parents are partners, and you are also leaders. We understand similarly to me, because I am a parent, that you send us your very best every day. You don't have another kid, you don't have another option. This is who you have, and it's your very best, and we receive them in that manner. We're committed to building lifelong learners. Summit basically is kind of similar to what we call a Superman model. We allow the kids to kind of grapple with the material, struggle with it, and this is a productive struggle. And then the teacher will come in at the end and provide the extra support. But we really learn by doing and not by just giving the exemplar at the beginning. I also think about an analogy like a trampoline. Summit is a trampoline, but every student has to jump. It is a magnificent trampoline. It has a lot of buoyancy, but the kids have to jump, and that's how they play around with it and see what heights they can achieve. Scholars engage with the content first, and then the teacher comes in and fills in the knowledge gaps. What I wanted to allow is a place for parents to have an opportunity to talk about some of the mindset shifts that we need. You have to have a growth mindset, and this is a different way of doing school, but it can be a successful model and a way for your kid to be successful. In the upcoming months, we are going to start to toy around with some of these things that we feel like could be good tools and resources for our parents. These are parent workshops. We want to teach you what is the difference between content and skills. What is off track versus getting an F? What is a skill gap deficit, and how do we scaffold these lessons? So we want you to be a learner so that you can help be a parent and a partner and a leader to your child by understanding the basis of what Summit has. And lastly, we really want to show you how teachers facilitate the knowledge so that the cognitive load is on the student. Great leaders and great parents know that strong relationships must be founded on good communication. So if you don't take anything away from today, we want to make sure that we highlight what are some of the practices as parents that you can do to really set yourself and your scholar up for success. Here are 5 things you can do to improve your communication with your child. First, clearly identify your expectations and make sure that your child is aware of them. Give clear and regular feedback, even when that feedback may be negative. Remember that giving feedback has nothing to do with giving lectures. Be upfront and honest in your communication with your child. Listen more than you talk. Show empathy and put yourself in the child's shoes. And lastly, find time to connect every day. My son Malachi attends a school, and every evening when we have dinner, I ask Malachi, what did you learn today? What are some things you're struggling with? Did you encounter any misconceptions? And how can I best support you? Malachi is 13, so he's at that age where he doesn't want to talk to me as much, but I go into that conversation with a list of questions that I already have vetted that will allow us to have a more robust conversation about what his day looks and feels like. Great parents, leaders, and teachers inspire. Great leaders inspire and motivate others to do the same thing. And so that's what we're really excited about here. Let me see if some other people are joining. Give me 1 second as I just make sure we have all participants here. All right. And so when you think about what do great parents and teachers do, they make sure that the scholars learn how to react to different situations by watching the adult. When we model the behavior that we want our child to adopt, they are more likely to be successful. So remember, you are your child's first teacher. They watch you just like they watch a lot of the teachers, and you have a lot of influence on how they grow up and how they show up in the space. All right, let's go to the next slide. Great parents, leaders, and teachers are great cheerleaders. You may say, what does that look and feel like? Well, some of the things on the slide that I'm going to read out are things that I want you to think about and look for opportunities in your day-to-day that can make this come true. A great teacher knows that their scholar's success is their success. And the same kind of applies with parenting. Your success, a lot of time, is through the way that your child grows up, how they show up in the space, and how you can see your efforts paying off and how they are good citizens in the world. They know that it is important for students to believe that their teachers and parents are on their side, and that not only do we ask them to be good champions and advocate for themselves, that we will do the same. Just as employees need to have their achievements recognized, your child needs to know that you've noticed when they are doing a good job, even when, and especially when that progress is slow and painful. So think about NWEA. We take that test 3 times a year, but that also means that you can Applaud their growth from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year and at the end of the year. What can you do in between? How can you use the time and in service to identify those gaps, those learning gaps, and really set them up for success by giving them supplemental resources, showing up to those parent conferences, and making sure that they are advocating and you are supporting them. Instead of simply praising your child, let them know exactly what they're doing right. Examples can include, you've gotten so much better at reading since you've been getting reading every day, or you hardly made any mistakes. Look at how your foreign language practice is paying off. There's this thing called growth mindset. You hear us talk about it all the time. Your child grows and develops when they feel like they have the power to change the events that happen in their life. And so again, with Summit and what we're doing at Kairos, we are putting the child in the driver's seat of their education and essentially their life. The more they feel capable of success, the higher the chances are that they will make an effort to achieve their goals. Additionally, great parents and great leaders focus on building trust in their relationships. One thing that we always tell our teachers when they are encountering a new classroom at the beginning of the year or when kids come in throughout the year is that the foundation of trust and building that relationship will be the pillars of a great school year. Like all great leaders, great parents care about building relationships that are built on trust. When it comes to parenting, this is more than just being able to trust your child. They need to be able to trust you and to count on you. So showing up for events and making sure that you also know about Summit and IXL and the other various things that they are partaking in and that you're looking. We always say, be seen looking. Are you looking at the homework? Are you making sure that that Chromebook is plugged in? Are you taking an interest in what they're doing? Trust and accountability go hand in hand. Your child will make mistakes. All kids do, but allowing them to make amends when those mistakes happen shows your faith in them. Great parents and great leaders are not omnipresent. And what that basically means, you're not hovering, you are allowing them to lead in the space. There was this book that's represented here that was published. It was entitled, How Much is Too Much? Raising Likable, Responsible, Respectful Children from Toddler to Teens. And what we really are doing right now is we are creating the next generation. These are the people that will go into the workforce, and how do they show up really depends on the skill sets that they have and how they leverage them. So doing too much for your child can harm them, and it harms you as well. So how do you make sure that they're not overly reliant, but they are empowered to make those decisions and to act in the space accordingly? Leaders and teachers both know that without a strong relationship, none of their efforts will matter. They know that strong relationships do not develop by themselves, but they need nurturing and they need to grow. We went over all of these things, but what I really want to leave you with is a challenge. Set aside a few minutes every day to hang out with your kids. This is an easy way to strengthen your relationship and to know our platform, know what they're struggling with, and know how you can best support them and help them advocate for them to have a great experience here at Kairos. Lastly, I want to briefly talk about some housekeeping items. PASA. Every week, so every other week, bi-weekly, you get a PASA post check. We are trying to be very intentional on how we build our relationships and community with parents. So please fill that out. We are looking at two different matrix when it comes to those PASA surveys. One consistent question that you always will get is, are you happy with your services and what you're receiving at Kairos? And that is really how we're measuring our success and your interaction with your overall experience. And then how many people participate? We never get enough of your voices. Do it every week and make sure that if something changes, you allow us to know so that we can reach out to you and take the steps necessary to make this a positive learning experience. Additionally, we will ask bonus questions, and these may be things that we either saw show up on the positive survey that we want to inquire and dig a little deeper, or maybe from our operations or our leadership team, there may be a data point that we're trying to gather some information on. IXL, this is our supplemental platform. When your scholar took the NWEA, we looked at those standards that are aligned to the standards that they will be tested on at the end of the year for the Missouri MAP test. This allows them additional at-bats. You've seen on your progress report cards a fundamental grade, and this is aligned to IXL. They should be working on this at all times. Remember, just because school is out doesn't mean that your kid doesn't have access to continuous learning, and that's where you can be the driver. Chromebooks. In a couple of weeks, we will do a series on what the Chromebook is. We'll talk about the insurance. But right now, what I really want to make sure that parents understand as we go into semester 2, you have to make sure that your scholar values and treats this property like borrowed property. This is their main catalyst in order to access all of the different information on the platform. This is free of charge, and we can only offer it free by making sure that it is held at a certain quality, and that you either invest in the insurance, or in the event that the Chromebook becomes broken, lost, or damaged, then there will be a small fee that you have to pay to make sure that your kid gets back in there. But when we talk about skill sets and what needs to be true, you have to keep track of your property, and you have to take care of it. If not, you have to be responsible for it. So parents, please help us. Make sure it's charged up and make sure they're taking care of it, because it will cost if they do not do that. Additionally, Dean's List. Super excited about that. Y'all should have been receiving emails on a weekly basis, a weekly progress report card that comes out, so that by the time you get your progress report card at the end of the cycle, no surprises. We want you to reach out to the teachers if you have any questions. Mentors are great, but the teachers are in there facilitating the learning and are the gatekeepers to some of those questions that you have. So make sure you reach out to teachers and that you look for those weekly reports that go out on Dean's List. If you're not receiving that, reach out to the principal, reach out to the mentors, or reach out to me, and we'll make sure that we get you set up. In service, as mentioned previously, it is an opportunity, not a time off, but a time on to fill in gaps. Scholars can work on Summit at all times. That's the beautiful part about project-based learning and that individuality. It doesn't stop. So when they're on break, that's the time for the parent to be more the facilitator and to help guide your scholar through it. The great thing about Summit is you will see red. Red means something is wrong. They need to go back over it, and that is an area for improvement. The same with yellow. They can request feedback from their teachers, but unless it's green, your scholar has work to do. Mentoring continues to happen, and you should have just had mentoring conferences. So make sure that you reach out to your mentor who serves as a liaison. And then lastly, the parent conferences are essential. That is an opportunity for you to talk to a person at the staff to get all of that information in a one-stop shop and easily delivered to you. All right, that concludes the presentation for today. I hope that this information was useful. We will be having these Parent Academy conversations every Monday in February, except for the 20th, because of President's Day, we have pushed that one to the 21st. They will continue to be from 5 to 6 on this Zoom link. If people are able to come on, we will be able to stop and have Q&A. But if not, all of the presentations will be recorded and at your leisure for you to be able to watch and make sure you stay in the know. Until next time, have a wonderful day and keep it cracking. Bye.